was a little excerpt from one of my songs that's just been released on iTunes. It's called Star, and it features string skipping scale fragments around the guitar, which is largely inspired by players like Paul Gilbert and John Petrucci, guys like that, who do this kind of thing quite a bit. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm firstly going to play you the actual section first up to normal speed, and then I'm going to slow it down using some brilliant software called Riff Station, which is just on my Mac here. And then what I'm going to do is explain the ideas behind the scale fragments so that you can use them in your own playing and start coming up with ideas of your own that are similar. Because obviously what we're all trying to do as guitar players is just find the bits we like in other people's guitar playing, steal them, and then make them our own. So there's not really any point in a way learning how to play my exact licks, but what is cool is just getting the ideas and the thinking behind them so you can replicate similar stuff and hopefully do even better stuff. Brilliant. Okay, so with no further ado, let's just jump into playing the riff, the solo bit. So I've got Riff Station here playing on a loop, and that's a cool thing you can do with this Riff Station software is it can just loop the go. Now I'm just going to slow it down, so just check out how this works now. So you can slow it right down and the pitch doesn't change, so Riff Station is a really cool piece of software for practicing stuff. It's actually harder to play this slowed down in some ways, so I'll have a go. Here we go. Now I'm just going to slow it down even more. So it's less than half the speed of the record now. Okay, so that's how to play the lick. I just wanted to go through that so you could see the lick slowed down. For those of you kind of get how this works, could just steal the lick from there. What I'm going to do now is just talk a little bit about scale fragments and how I view the guitar and stuff. So don't go away. Okay, so in terms of the theory behind this, basically when I was learning guitar, I was completely self-taught and didn't know what I was doing. And what I'd find is that I could be playing over something, and without even knowing what I was doing or any scale shapes or something, I could just kind of play. And sort of move the scale around, and my ear sort of could tell me what the next note was going to be, even if I was going kind of fairly slow or fast or whatever. It didn't really matter. So and I started to look at this and trying to figure out how come I can figure out by ear what's going on, and I don't really know any scale shapes, what's happening. And I realized that certain patterns reoccur in the major scale. In fact, there are only really 3 patterns in your standard major or natural minor scale. So this particular solo is over E. So if we start on an E note here, first pattern is where you have a tone, which is basically 2 fret gap, and then you have a semitone. So tone, semitone, that's your first shape, okay? Your next shape, which is the second one of the 3, goes semitone, tone. So semitone, tone, and semitone is just 1 fret, a tone's a 2 fret gap. And then the only other pattern is where you've got a tone between each note. See, there's a gap of fret between. So let's do that again. First one, tone, semitone, semitone, tone, tone, tone. And then that pattern repeats itself, exact same thing. Tone, semitone, semitone, tone, tone, tone. So all together you've got this. And then you're back to the note you started on there. Once I figured that out, it suddenly became a lot easier to play guitar. So then I realised from there there's about, if you start thinking in box shapes, there's only about 5 or 6 of these shapes as you stack them up across 2 string sets. So I'm going to stack these strings sets together now so you can see. So we get that as our first one. It's like a rectangle with 2 notes at this side of the rectangle. If you've got, and you've got 2 notes there. And your next one is the same pattern but stacked up like that. So it's the same pattern on both strings. So this would be a small rectangle with 2 notes stacked on this side. Then you've got the tone tone one, which is a large rectangle. Okay, that gives us 3 distinct boxes. Next one. Next one. Then after that they get a bit weird. You get kind of like I don't know what you call it, a trapezoid. So you've got the tone semitone one and then the tone tone one on top. Then you get another small rectangle, this time with the notes that go across like that. And then the final shape is like a trapezoid going this way. And then you get back to the tone tone one, which is the only shape that's repeated. Back to the beginning there. Do that again. Shape 1, shape 2, shape 3, shape 4, shape 5, shape 6, then you're back to one of the previous shapes. Okay, once I started realising that, I thought, wow, you can move those around, and it's what upon hearing a solo by I think John Petrucci on a Dream Theater album called the song was called Erotomania, I think, and what he did was take these shapes and move them in octaves. So for example, let's take our first shape, this one, but do it in reverse and come down. And then I'm going to jump down to the next octave, play the exact same shape. Jump down to the next shape, play the exact same shape. Obviously you've got the open strings there. And you can do this with all the shapes, same with this one. And the next one as well. And all I'm doing is starting the same note there. And same with, and basically you can do that with all the shapes. And so on and so forth, all of them. There we are, back at E. And you can do the same thing in reverse, so remember that shape we had up here? If you start it from here, from the E here, you can get those box shapes again going up. Next one, next one, and so on and so forth. Or you can do the thing where you move across an octave. Start with the same shape, move the same shape up there, and move it up an octave again. Okay, so all of a sudden, just with that little thing where you had the semitone, tone, semitone thing, those 3 shapes, you can play them all over the guitar. So this particular excerpt takes this kind of trapezoidal shape first, but what I do is instead of playing all the same shapes in a sequence, I just jump from one around different ones, and they're all in the key of E natural minor or G major. So first one goes like this. So we start with the downstroke here, and I do 3 pull-offs because I'm not the world's greatest alternate picker, so I almost always do legato for the first string and then pick the second one like this, and then the upstroke, up, down, up, and then I'm going to jump up to the one that's stacked with the tone shapes. Same thing, legato. Up, down, up. Okay. And then I'm going to jump down to the one that's down the octave from the one I started on. This one. Okay, so far we've got... I'm going to jump all the way down here. And then I'm going to pick all these ones. And the reason for picking all these ones is because I like the sound of kind of alternate picking on the bass string. And I mute it just a little bit as well. Okay, so, and then I'm going to jump up here to the tone, the semitone tone shape. So, and then I jump up here to the kind of the small rectangle with the across bit in the middle. And then I'm up here. So all together. And then I do like a sweep picking type thing. I'll just pick those two notes there. Okay, and that's how I come up with it. So once you get those little boxes, you can start jumping them all over the place. So that is the approach to it. So once someone breaks it down like that, it's pretty simple. So the way I'd start with these shapes is just practice them on their own, you know, and get used to how, and you'll start seeing them all over the place on the guitar. So for example, you know, this one, if you started there, and you can do all that stuff flying around the guitar, jumping about. And the reason I use string skipping is because I think it sounds more interesting than just zooming up and down scales, kind of like, which can sound a bit predictable. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that made sense. As always, please subscribe to my channel for more lessons like this. I'm on Facebook as well, and my website is davebrons.com. Right on the end now, I'm just gonna link you to the full video of the single, so you can check that out, and also a playthrough of the full solo. So you'll have, as long as you're on a PC or not on a mobile device, you'll be able to click on those and check those out. So looking forward to staying in touch. I hope you enjoyed this lesson.